post-metal quartet Novere released one of the most powerful albums to resonate through the ears of the underground in years. As a debut record, Nothing Stays Hidden in Daylight conjures images of Amenra, Tool and Isis, but also draws from the wellspring of post-rock and alternative rock. Kirk Horton speaks to vocalist and drummer Voy and bassist Top for a track-by-track analysis of the band's latest effort. This is a Screen Blast Repeat exclusive interview.
Okay, so let's have a look at your debut album then. Nothing Stays Hidden in Daylight, released on the 1st of October via Trepanation Recordings. And track number 1, Hydra, 7 minutes and 59 seconds. Great way to start the album. First question I'm going to ask. It took me a few times to listen to it. Is there some kind of offbeat in that opening guitar riff? Because that doesn't seem to be in 4/4 timing.
Yeah, where's Dave when you need him? we think it's 4 and then 5 and then 4 and then 5, but we're not sure.
Yeah,
which is definitely not the easiest way when you try to learn the track on the drums while you're singing it. So I remember when our guitarist Dave bring the whole idea to us, and the way how I look at it, I was like, this is very complicated, and I definitely want to do it, because that's just gonna, if something is very challenging, it can just make you a better musician. And we were hammering this riff for weeks until we find the right groove. We know exactly how we want to do it, and yeah. So that was the first introduction to the album itself, which I think. When we were trying to figure out the beginning of the song, we really didn't want to start too soon with the main drop. We want listener to get used to a little bit this trancey vibe and let him sink into the atmosphere of the track itself. That's why we also decided for this intro to be slightly longer. It doesn't start in the classic 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We start in the track itself. We wanted to be maybe even quite long, but more smooth transition into the world that we're gonna place the listener in.
Sorry, I have to correct myself, Kirk. It's 3/4, and the last measure is in 4/4. I just counted it out. We do everything by feel. I'm sorry.
No, exactly. That's fine. I didn't notice it until like the 5th listen. But I really, you've created this intro, this blistering guitar distortion. I think the two guitar players are playing like sliding octave chords, it sounds like to me. And that's your springboard, certainly for you, Voy, isn't it? To feel your way into the song. But before this interview started, Top, off camera, we were just talking. There's this incredible, really, I guess you'd say grungy, like bass groove, isn't there? That starts the transition to the second part of the song. It really reminds me of those early 90s noise rock bands like Helmet. They would have like that type of gurning bass guitar tone, wouldn't they? When you write the second part of this song, is that something, you said you're jamming on this riff. How have you introduced the bass part into this song?
Somebody in the room literally said there should be only bass in this part, and that's what happened. It's really that simple. But I was skeptical at first, but it opened the door. It really opened the song up, because Voy, correct me if I'm wrong, but that riff, Dave's riff, was like literally the first thing we wrote for this album, sans Dance Macabre, and it was so cool, but it was very specific. It was hard to get out of that into other ideas, and that seemed like a good bridge and a good experiment. Because funnily enough, we used it as a placeholder first, but we're like, actually, that kind of makes sense.
You must be doing your sound check playing that.
No, we use other songs.
I should do that all day. Just picking up.
No, I can't. It gets I get into a trance and then I start making mistakes, so I gotta keep it sharp a little bit.
Yeah, do you know, I get a Tool vibe in this song. There's a really climactic part of that reminds me a bit of Onoma, the song Onoma by Tool, and also in your last song as well on this album. ISIS meets Tool is, sorry for reducing your music to comparisons. What would you say if you had to describe this to somebody? What kind of bands would it remind them of, this song?
We were talking about this recently as it's absolutely great honor to be compared to such an incredible vocalist as James is. But me personally, I was brought up on Placebo, and Brian Molko was always one of my biggest inspirations in terms of the vocals, just because I love his delivery, the fragile note in his voice, everything from the lyrics to high and the low notes. That was something that really impacted me when I was 17. And I could never really match the music as I was playing in various different bands, from thrashcore metal to alternative metal, punk rock bands, etc. And I knew that my voice is not too masculine. I could never transfer it into exactly same way as I shall say. When we started playing with Novere, I could really explore and let it go, all those emotions and the fragility that I always want to sing with. I don't really see myself as a very hard rock type of vocalist. And I was always struggling with it. Where over here, the guys always give me an absolute freedom to create the vocal lines and the lyrics and the way how I want to pattern the vocal. Definitely the band Tool. I'm a massive fan, exactly the same as a Perfect Circle. Been a big component into this, but I highly base my vocal lines on the vocals of Colin from Amenra. As when I discover that band, it's completely transferred me into a different place, so that you can be incredibly aggressive, and the screams that he used on his albums are something literally out of this world. And he come back to this like pure fragility and the beauty of human voice. I was instantly hooked into this, and that was main way in terms of inspirations what I was going for, especially on this record.
Yeah, I think it's important to say to our viewers, the standard of singing is very high on this record, isn't it? You put a lot of thought into it. You could take your voice and strip it down and put it on a piano, and it'd still be very strong. So when you said it's not masculine, what you mean there is it's probably got a bit almost like a tenor type quality to it, hasn't it? The range. There's almost like you're not far off falsetto at times, and it really grabs you. Top, what's your vocal contribution on this song? Because I know that Voy is clearly doing those intimate passages when this song pulls back from the aggression, and he's doing the screams. What are you contributing vocal wise on this song?
There's three things that I do for Hydra. I double Voy's aggression at various points, just to add a level of thickness. I do a kind of a post-hardcore screamy bit at the bridge just before the climate. That is me. Just because we like different voicings, and since we could complement each other, we want to explore all of those things. And also, there's a very tender but loud bit where me and Voy harmonize to create like the voice as an instrument. It has no lyrics, it's just our voices. And there was not really much thought behind these things. We just we write the song and we play it in the room, and anyone's free to ad lib on top, and that's where a lot of these ideas come from. And it seemed right. It's very Queen-esque. It's very classic rock-esque, but it seemed right. And when it seems right, you should just stop it there. So yeah, that's what I contribute for this song.
Based on Dave, when you wrote this, was it Dave who said we just need a bass part in this? Voy, I love the ending, like those ritualistic tom drum patterns. was it decided amongst the band like that from early on, we need to end it in this way?
No, absolutely not. I've tried to feel the way how we can end up the track itself to not put it into like a one simple beat, and I just start playing that beat with which comes like what goes into my head, which is heavily inspired by the incredible post metal band, and I will like everyone to check it, Obscure Sphinx from Poland, and the track called Nothing Left, where the drums sound very almost tribal at the beginning of the record. I always want to create something quite similar without copying it. And yeah, I remember I just started playing it at the end, and we were just like, yeah, this is a great groove for it. Let's just end up on this. Let's not continue the story. Let's not extend it. Let's just finish the track in exact that very primal way, I would say.
Yeah, very progressive, this song, isn't it? I've heard people call your music progressive post metal. When you look at the structure of this, there's not a lot of repeating parts. And even like the main riff is quite a long riff, isn't it? That one at the beginning. So yeah, to me that was just so intriguing. And every time I go back to this song, I'm always discovering something new in it. So when we get to track number 2, correct me on the pronunciation. Is it Aphelion or Aphelion?
Aphelion.
Right. Okay, I did get it right on the video. I love the lonely beauty of this, the intro. It reminds me of a song by My Dying Bride called The Dreadful Hours, you know, that really delicate, high register, clean guitar at the beginning. Beautiful how you've phrased your voice around that voice. There's some harmonies between the two of you in this, isn't there? You've got quite a big contribution to this top. Am I right in thinking at the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I come in about halfway and harmonize just to open up the song a little bit. Yeah.
There's a dark shadow looming in the background, though, even in these melodic parts. I suppose the only thing I did expect in this song was the guitarist to step on the distortion and play that phrasing, but it suits it so well. And I think I'm just reading my notes here. When the harsh vocals come in, there's a lot of blood and guts in the way that you're delivering that, like you're shredding your throat purposely in an act of self-harm. Am I overthinking this?
No, actually, the way how I create the line, the vocals, and the lyrics itself, I really put loads of attention for them to sound exactly to match the words that I'm speaking to the listener. In terms of Aphelion and the track itself, all my growling parts, I don't really want to do them over the top in every moment. I really try to wait patiently for the moment where they can truly erupt, either add lots of dramatism into them or just make them a very strong and just simply shredded and more brutal as it's on the Aphelion itself. The whole song by itself is just the description of a drug trip from the beginning, from the moment when everything starts calmly. We're going through the phase of a slow breakdown just to end up in the realization that there's nothing at the end of that journey. I remember when we create the top is the main person who creates the song. I would say that probably 80 or 90% of the entire song is just him. When he brings the song to us, he brings the title Aphelion itself already, which is the feathers point or the orbit from the sun itself. And I remember it just clicks with me. It's just exactly in the same way as with the drug use or drug problem or any form of addiction, that we just slowly and gradually step out from the sun and step out from the light itself, and we go into this absolute void. And the title itself, it just, when sometimes you got those moments, it's like, yes, that's gonna be the story. This is gonna be the second part of a realization of our main protagonist, going from Hydra, which is like purely about the existential suffering, and now focusing what might cause the suffering itself coming through Ophelia, and whereas the song just about the wrong using of drugs or any form of addiction, slowly losing yourself into one of those.
Yeah, top 11 minutes and 14 seconds, track number 2, Ophelia, isn't it? So if you've composed most of this, how important are those up and down dynamics to the identity of this music?
I think incredibly important. I think I didn't really set out to make an 11-minute track. It's not really a goal of mine. But as I say, my writing is very intuitive. I don't really put much logical thought into, oh, now it should go down or be softer here. It's just I just follow what feels right. So in terms of intent, not much intent, but kind of guided by intuition mostly. Yeah.
The song, right? Is it almost a case of the song just writes itself?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was way more ideas into it in the song, but the guys helped me filter what was essential. And also, keeping in mind what the concept of the album was. I remember there was one part, and it turned major, like maybe 3/4 of the way through, and the guys were like, "That does not feel right. We're still in the darkness. We're still far away from the sun. So let's stay in that place." And that was like, yeah, conceptually and compositionally, that works perfectly. Let's scratch it.
Yeah, see, the first 2 songs to me, there seems to be an element of trauma to this music, but also recovering from that and undergoing a process where things have to get worse before they get better. So even if I didn't know what the lyrics were, it seems to communicate that emotion to me, which is, I suppose, synonymous, isn't it, with post-metal? What were your other? So you come to the do you come to the rehearsal studio with on your phone, a recording on your phone, and say, hey, here's this 9-minute song? How do you present it to them, in what format?
We have a pretty busy Google Drive that we drop riffs or whole songs or lyrics or whatever we have in mind. And if it updates, we also have a group chat on WhatsApp, and it's like, hey, check this out, got a new riff, got a song. So that's how we usually start. Give people time at home to really, listen to an idea and then maybe come up with their own ideas. And that's really helped. In addition to that, we also record what we attempt to play on a first or second go or a 13th go. Doesn't matter. We record it all the time, so that it's really important for us to take the material back and to chill and listen it to in our own time. And if it's still good, then we proceed that way. That's usually how we do it.
Yeah, let's move on to track 3. I love this song because it just second guesses the listener all the way through. This really is built on vocal harmonies, and there's no guitar distortion in it, but you keep thinking it's going to come. I think, is it the second verse where the bass starts following the voice? Beautiful, really sophisticated texture that you put in there, and you keep changing the drums, don't you, Vi, on each verse, and it's building up tension. And at what point did you know that this song just has to stay with the vocals dominating it, and it doesn't need this monstrous amp distortion or explosion in the climax?
So, funnily enough, Dance Macabre is the first song that we ever created. It was the song created entirely by Matteo, our guitarist. This is literally the oldest song that we ever have in our repertoire. Where at the beginning, the song was in a very classical rock and roll template. I would say we have clear intro, bridge, chorus, verse, etc. And it was one of those ideas that we have for such a long time, and we could never really agree into any of the ideas which we have in the track itself. And one time, I unfortunately don't remember who suggested, but we were like, how about we make the entire song purely clean, without any distortion, without anything, just like leaving the listener hanging constantly, which I think with the idea of the song, with the lyrics, it goes just perfectly. So when we were playing it, we were thinking maybe to create this like Euronymous, big, buffy crescendo with like very strong riff, or even there was idea to create it with a simple one dronish sound, which gonna last for like a 1 minute. And then we decided like, no, it's gonna take the whole fragility of it. So in the idea, it was still a rock and roll composition in the sense of a template itself. Therefore, we focus more on the vocals and the fragility of the impact that it might have on a listener. And we just decided that yeah, we got this just that moment, just as you mentioned before, that you think that the song's just gonna about to erupt at the end, and we want to strip all possibility of thinking that like, oh yeah, I know for potential listener, like I know that this gonna happen now, and we never deliver it. Where the song itself, that's the whole meaning behind the song. The song is about lost love, and the way how we almost when the relationship or any sort of love between humans ends up, it feels like this empty void that never goes anywhere. It's just very still, and you just like slowly dwelling into your nothing. And I think from emotional impact and the way how we create the song, I think I'm really proud of the delivery that we created, and also that we kind of strip ourselves of this potential expectation, as you would say that like, oh, that song's gonna go in that way, as we really we are not really interested to do things in a very static way. That's why we decided to keep this song mainly as a rock and roll vocal song, if you know, if you can say that.
Yeah,
I
we
think
were
this is a
very
really heavy song.
I'm sorry.
I
Sorry, I
think
cut.
this is a heavy song though, emotionally. There's no, I wouldn't say that this is a tranquil song at all. If anything, it's just as heavy as the others. What? Sorry, Tom, you were about to just come in on that
Yeah,
one.
I just to get more into the process. We were very skeptical when we played it quiet for the first time, but when we got through the song, it was like, oh yep, that's the way it has to be. And things just, you know, when it feels right, I always keep saying then it's right. And we actually brought it on tour with us in March of 2022 with our tour with This Sun No More. And there was one night we were playing in Stone, where they're from, and we played that song, um, which is very not a party vibe song. And I remember just looking at Voy, and I felt that, you know, I think I broke down a little bit just because it was so powerful. I was like, yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
yeah.
I remember that we were having a conversation, as I think we also play this song in one of the London shows. And I remember that someone said to the crowd that like, now it's coming, and it never come. And we were just like, yeah, this song, we just gonna leave it exactly the way how it is, just to keep people constantly wondering.
We played this last a couple of times, Voy. Remember that? That
Yeah.
that made some people unhappy, but
Did you play this in when I saw you at Hitchin at Club 85?
No, I think that song was still in a development at the time, as we really focused loads on the guitars where we were creating this song as well, as we don't want. I am big fan of two guitars constantly talking to each other, and we try to create like some sort of communication between Matteo and Dave, so they still say the same story just through absolutely different sonic range.
Yeah, I think it's a triumph, this song, because it is such a surprise. But I will just repeat, this is heavy, this song, to me, just because there's no heavy gain on the guitars or no screaming. If anything, it's more naked. You're putting yourself again on the line here, aren't you? I think that's really a fascinating way to approach music, you know, paradoxically, to write something that's so emotionally grief laden,
Yeah.
because you're talking about lost love, and then it's wrapped in this fragile beauty. So yeah, I'd like you to write more music like this on your next album. You know, I think every album needs, you need to do a song like this, or second guess, where you just don't give the listener what they expect, not what they want, what they expect. So let's move on to the last track on the album then, Cromlech. 9 minutes and 56 seconds. When I did the Screen Blast Repeat video review, I knew straight away I was going to use a sample from this song, because I love I love the opening bass beat. It's got a good, really heavy noise rock type sound to it, hasn't it, in the beginning, even in those quieter moments, a bit like Ken Mode and Chat Pile and bands like that. Voy, a band you might be interested in from Poland called Atrocious Filth. I reviewed one of their albums this year. Fascinating music, you know, really dark noise rock type stuff that you just don't really hear that much now. And I think they hadn't put something out for like 15 years, and it came my way, and I was really blown away by it. But yeah, let's start. Come on, let's start with the bubbling bass then. Top, you really are. There's no showmanship in this band, but this is as close as it gets, isn't it? Surely. I even said in my review, it's like you've got a giraffe.
Dude, I'm a bassist. I gotta throw some of that shit in somewhere.
Oh man, the groove! I feel like my neck's extending trying to get under the groove. Was it like that for you when you were playing it?
Misery doesn't mean it can't be danceable. Like, no, actually, the song started with Mateo's ideas. He had a bunch of really cool ideas that needed some bridging and some gluing together. And once again, I can't really tell you where. It just happened that way. Because I remember the riff that he had was this beautiful ascending and descending chord, sparse chords, and I thought to contrast that with something a bit more punchy and a bit more specific, just as, you know, just I like variety, and that seemed like a good way to get into the really dark, meaty core of what the song is.
Yeah, boy, is this your John Bonham moment? The opening beat.
I'll try to always keep the thing simple, but still add a little bit groove to it. And I'm a big fan of adding very tiny notes to simplicity. I don't like overdo things. Therefore,
Yeah, there is
not
one phrase where Voy repeats himself in that whole intro. If you listen very closely, it's always different. Actually, the same with the guitars. The only thing that's consistent is probably that bass line, which is funny enough.
Yeah, it holds it together. Do you know what I like listening to this with the headphones on? You can hear Dave and Matteo in each speaker playing slightly different chords. It's in key, just playing at different parts on the fretboard. This is the type of music. If you like progressive music, you're just going to immerse yourself in this, aren't you? And I think it's such a great way to have like a two-minute intro. But again, the middle parts of this, there's some real varied timbers to this music. I guess this is where the post-rock element comes in, is it? You know, where people will say there's a post-rock angle to what Novere are doing. How difficult was it to piece all this together in this song?
I think we just figured it out at one point, because we are very happy in a way how we were jamming to the intro itself. We try to just crush down the listener in a one point without giving him any warning signs. As the title of the track and the whole concept of the track is a track about loss of yourself, your inability to love, is grieving of of a life itself and of the struggles without really finding the light itself, which it entwined the entire record together as a one big circle. That's why there is lots of elements of lights and darkness in our songs, just to intertwine this as a one full piece. It's just as we mentioned just before with top. Sometimes things just feel right, and we knew it that when we started playing it with this heavy part, we were just like, yeah, that's how it has to be. We just have to attack this like almost mercifully and very heavy till the end of the record, where before, because it was very funny for us as well in the sense to when we were wondering how we should place the record, the tracks itself on the album. We are like, technically the prom like is the heaviest song on the entire album, and we leave it to the last, where usually you might expect from the music like ours, they present the heavy bits and slowly, gradually slow it down. We try to a little bit reverse the system itself and the way how the album is gonna sound, just leaving a listener in absolute misery. If that might sound really brutal, or but we think that there was a right way to do.
I'm going to ask you a personal question. Where, this is for you, boy, where is this murderous aggression coming from? Because there are certain points in the song that are really unsettling. I love that as a listener, but I really do feel as if you've invited me into a dark place and I don't really have a choice. I've got to watch this drama unfold. What is there anything? Do you do this for catharsis, or are there certain things that have happened in your life where you need to be unleashing music like this?
Yeah, being absolutely honest with you, Kirk, and that's why I love my boys from my band, as they give me an absolute freedom in terms of the concept and the way how I created this album. Last few years of my life were not the best years, as I would say, and I've tried to sum up all my experiences and everything that I go through into this record, where I pull all the emotions and everything that was dragging around for quite a while, and just present it to the listeners, and to the people who will catch this album. It was a very cathartic experience, definitely, and these songs are still quite challenging for me to perform live, but in a sense, I just truly love that. I love the way how I can just absolutely let go and go back to those dark places and just let them free, and just spill that all over this album. There was a lot of it was lots of sadness and lots of grief, and not particularly enjoyable emotions on this album. But I'm truly proud what we achieved with the boys, and without them and without this absolute artistic freedom that they gave me, I don't think I'll be able to do that. And if you feel in that way, that's literally what we are trying to achieve on the record, and I'm absolutely astounded. Thank you for those words. As I would like to invite people to this world to try to maybe process either heartbreaks, loss, grief, some traumas that happened in the life, and just maybe still come back from them as a winner.
Yeah, Tom, what's it like playing this song live? Can you just forget about the audience playing something as emotionally demanding as this?
Yeah, I think we have quite an interesting chemistry on stage, myself and Void, because we're placed center stage. We're flanked by the two guitars, so we have quite an interesting dialogue when we play live, and sometimes we'll play facing each other just to get in that vibe. But it's absolutely being about being in a trance and For me, that's enjoyable to not think too much about how I'm technically playing, but to really live the music at that moment. And I think Voy has a similar approach, and that's why we have that kind of back and forth on stage. And I think that helps portray this type of music better for myself anyway. Because I've been in situations where I had to play quite technical music, and then I can still do it, but it just seems like this is an appropriate way of approaching it at my age and with my life experience. So yeah, I definitely shut the brain off and just let the music take you from point A to point B.
Yeah, let me give you my perspective as a spectator at this type of gig. What I like about this music, I can just turn up on my own, put my hood up, drink a beer. I don't have to speak to anybody. And if I want, I can just close my eyes and listen to it. And the distortion will often rumble in my chest anyway, so I can't. It's the type of thing where you can't really ignore it, even if you don't like it, because it's so sonically powerful as well. And I find it quite relaxing. But sometimes halfway through a song, I'll be like, why am I enjoying something that's so traumatic? That's what it feels like.
I think I'm the same way, Kirk. When I play it, I'm just really happy.
Yes.
It's a euphoria. It's the euphoria of release, and being able to be completely free, like completely free of everything for 30 to 40 minutes.
Did you say earlier as well that this music, I think you said it tongue in cheek, because you're so selfish, because it's so introspective. You don't have to care about anything in the world other than that moment and the emotions you're feeling.
Yeah, that wasn't really a joke. It was more like this is what it requires to like kind of look inside. Because I've been in a lot of bands where it's about audience interaction. You look at people's eyes and you scream in their face. That's all cool. That still has a place. But for this one, I close my eyes a lot when I play. I don't dare look into people's faces because it's so vulnerable. This music, and yeah, it's a selfish in a very how can I describe it, platonic way. It's not negative or anything. It's just like looking inside.
Yeah. And the lyrics to this void, so you repeat the scream of, but the pain always stays the same. That's one hell of a way to end the song, isn't it? I think you ended with this when I saw you in Hitchin. Did you play the song?
We might, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if we have that song finalized at this stage, but that's definitely the most challenging part of the song, as I really try to let go everything at this stage, and I really put lots of attention for it for those words to sound exactly in the way that it has to sound, especially that we really try to create this cacophonic almost sound at the end of the track itself. None of those screams which you can hear on the album, nothing has been adds up. It was just a part of the session where I completely let myself go through, and thanks to my boys, I've got incredible support from them, and they let me get back from that really dark place where I was screaming those lyrics. Therefore, everything that you hear on our record is actually true. That was we've done some retakes, but it was just a very I would say cosmetic way in a sense. But I remember when we were recording from like that, yeah, we just recorded once and we were like, okay, I think that's it. That's we
I
gonna.
think it was like good take. Let's get some Chinese food. I think that was the word.
Just like yeah, we'll get to the point that we were just like okay, I think that the emotional impact's gonna be high enough for us, so we don't have to repeat anything on that song again.
So playing drums and then handling vocals, is that a help or a hindrance? Because I guess you are keeping time, aren't you? So you've no excuse for going out of time. Do you find that useful?
Um, Definitely. I like because we are very honest and self-critical in terms of the way how we play. That's why the guys always give me a really good feedback if something don't sound right, if I'm rushing because of the emotions itself, or the excitement of performing. Therefore, like the timing is incredibly important for us, and the delivery is the major key. Everything has to be exact in a way how we actually sound. We don't really want to make loads of rooms for mistakes per se. Obviously, those happen for like various different reasons, but the main thing is the delivery. As we work really bloody hard on the record, and we really work freaking hard on the album itself. Therefore, we really put loads of attention for our live shows, even if we're gonna play for rounds for 4 people and we're gonna play in a dev for 150, that still has to be exact same performance as we plan to do.
Yeah, do you know what? Now that we were talking about track number one and you mentioned Brian Molko and Placebo, I'm just thinking of that song "Without You I'm Nothing." You know that
Oh, one of
glorious middle
the
eight. I
one
can see some.
favorite
How I know how
one
in,
of the favorite songs of all time.
I can hear that now in the music. Now you've pointed it out, but it's like a guitars are far heavier. But you're right. Even there's parts of this song where you could link them together. I know where you're coming from now. What place you're coming from now that you've described that. Um, what about in terms of the bands that you've toured with over the last year or two? Have you learned anything from them? Do you ever pick up anything from one of the bands you're playing with and think, oh, that's a good idea. We should explore that.
For me personally, the band and our absolute brothers, the Gray, those guys proved me all over and over again that it doesn't matter if you play for Bloodstock for 10,000 people or you play in a tiny club in the middle of nowhere for seven, you deliver exact same show. You put everything what you have on the plate for every person in that space, and you really enjoy the things what you do. Those guys are our absolute brothers. I don't think we could ever not play with them. Every time we got the opportunity, it's great to see them. And we love Charlie and Steve with all our heart.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times. They're from Cambridge. They often play in Hertfordshire. Great guys as a trio. Yeah, doing really well. They played Bloodstock last year as well, didn't they? So great to see them
Yeah,
doing that.
absolutely murdered. Absolutely murdered. Great show.
So can you give us some final thoughts on the album then? What, if anything, would you like the listener to take away from this experience, Top, if I field that question to you?
Strangely, I'd like to take them whatever they want from it because I think it runs the gamut of emotions, and I think it's a record you can listen to when you're happy, or when you're sad, or when you're angry, and either validate or contradict those emotions. I think if we achieved in creating that album, I think I'd be really proud.
Boy, what's the proudest moment of your career in this band?
Definitely nothing stays hidden in the daylight is my proudest musical achievement in a record, maybe 7 or 8 albums in my life with various different projects and various different bands. But that's the most intimate, the most personal, and very, yeah, it's really personal records for me. And the only thing I would just like to people to listen to it, and just as a top mention, whatever emotions that they feel, if I can make 2, 3, or 50 people feel something, listen to this records, or there's gonna be the part that is gonna grab them by the heart. That's something that I'm the mostly proud of. We see it on our live shows. Where people are very kind to always stop and say hi and talk to us the way how they feel the music that was very emotionally driven, was very impactful, and personally for me that's the biggest compliment that I can ever achieve, as that was the whole idea behind this record, to let go some of the demons that are staying very deep inside of us, and just, you know what, instead of keeping them inside and let them destroy you, you just open in the doors and just let them out. And if anyone could feel something during this process of listening to our album, I can't be any more happy than this, to be honest with you, Kirk. That makes me insanely proud for the band, and for myself, for the things that we created. And looking recently for in terms of the feedback from the community, in terms of reviews, the good words from people, the messages that we receive, it's been absolutely overwhelming, and it's been just truly emotional.
Yeah,
And thank you so much for listening to this album. We really appreciate every each one of you.
oh, it's an honor. No, thank you, because I've got to say, last Monday when I was listening to this, I just had one of those days I could not get motivated in my day job, and I'm not that type of person. I always operate, at full capacity. And I remember just finishing and just thinking, do you know what? I just need to listen to this album and just go and walk in the countryside. And it was such a relaxing experience, even though it's quite traumatic, some of the music. But yeah, no, thank you very much. I hope we've done this album justice and people have learned a bit more about the record. I know that, me personally, I think you can interpret this in various ways, and that's the beauty of art, isn't it? But there's no doubt that those emotions come through. So to our viewers, 1st of October, it was released on Trepanation Recordings. Go and buy the cassette as a collectible. Go and buy the CD. Put that in your stereo. If you don't have a stereo, go and buy one. And buy some merchandise as well. Final thing, I know that you guys are busy. Are we going to be expecting a tour over the next year? You're going to be gigging for this album?
At this stage, we really have strong plans to create at least between 6 or 9 dates between February and March, as we would like to invite bigger, maybe good bands with us on the tour, and make this properly and in the way as we're supposed to do. Unfortunately, the life just goes always in the way. We try our best to play the shows. The next show we have at the moment is on the 22nd or 23rd of November in the Black Heart. So hopefully see some of you guys there. If not, definitely expect more gig from us for the next year.
Will do. Voy, Top, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kirk.